Hi everyone, welcome to the Year 6 rollover seminar. First of all, I just wanted to say thank you for everyone for coming, the parents and students today. I know it's a very busy time for everyone. We have Easter up in a couple of days. We have the selective exam around the corner. So I just really want to say thank you for your time tonight and for joining us for this seminar. I also really want to say congratulations to all of our Year 6 students. They've worked very, very hard and they're closing this chapter of their lives. And when I look around this call, I see parents of students who I have taught. I see students who have been with us all the way since Year 2. And for all of that, I just wanted to say thank you for supporting NSPC over the course of the years. As they're about to head over to high school and start that new chapter, I just want to say that we're also very proud of them, especially the staff and teachers at NSPC. I say this to all my students that this is just the beginning for them, and we really can't wait to see what happens as they move over to the high school. Now, the purpose of this seminar and the reason why we've gathered everyone here tonight is to just talk more about the different courses that are offered, as well as just to talk about the enrollment process and to clarify any questions you may have. So before we begin, let's go through some housekeeping. So let me just change my slide. So if possible at all, we would love it if you're able to turn on your camera. The high school team are here and they really want to build that relationship with you and familiarize themselves with your faces as you join over to the high school campus. Now, during the talk, each of the faculty members will be giving a presentation based on their different subjects. During that time, we ask that you just keep your microphone muted, and then we'll have time for questions. And during that time, you can unmute, ask your question, or just pop it in the chat, and then we'll get those answered as well. At the end, again, if you have any questions, you would have been called by Anita over the last week, and she would have answered your questions about the Year 6 rollover. But if you do have any further questions or would like anything clarified, Miss Anna Lee, who's in the call, will be talking, answering questions about that at the end. So with all that out of the way, let's get started with our agenda. So we're going to have 5 different parts tonight. We're going to start with a principal address by Dr. Trung Ngo. Then we're going to hear about the mathematics course by our head of mathematics, who's Miss Anna Lee. Then science course by the head of chemistry, Mr. Daniel Nguyen, and the English course, which is by the head of English, Ms. Tegan Nguyen. And then at the end, like I said, we'll have a Q&A section. So just hold your questions for that, or you can pop it into the chat and we'll answer it at the end. So with all that said, let's get started. I would like to invite Dr. Trung Ngo, who is the principal of Ngo & Sons, to address you now.
Thank you, Justin. Can you hear me okay? Hello?
Yes, we
can you hear me?
Sounds
Yes.
good.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, Justin, Anna, and parents. Thanks for joining our meeting for tonight. I expect parents will find this presentation extremely useful. 3 of my own children have gone through high school or who are going through high school, and 6 years pass by so very quickly. So it's important that we start this journey early and we start it in the right way. So tonight, our presenters will show you what needs to be done to ensure that your child gets the best chance to succeed. Ngo & Sons started when my father arrived in Australia by boat from Vietnam in 1982. So in Vietnam, he was a very famous maths teacher and was in charge of writing the maths component of the HSC. So when he arrived in Australia, his former students would ask him to teach their children. And so this is how Ngo & Sons started. He first taught lessons in the kitchen, and then it grew. We moved to the garage, and then I took over in I would say at 1997, and then we moved to the formal settings that we have now. During the last 30 years, we've had a lot of success helping our students achieve their dreams. So many of our students are now leading doctors, dentists, and we have a few international lawyers, and the list goes on. So I'd like to show you the most recent set of results from 2023, so last year's result. Now, I hope that in 6 years' time, the names of your children will be on this list. So parents often ask me, how do I achieve a good HSC results? How do I get my son or daughter's name on this list? So I think there are three things that a student needs to be successful. The first thing is a supportive family, a home environment that motivates and inspires children to study, to have confidence and to do their best. Without this, no matter what tutoring center they attend, no matter how good the tutoring center is, a positive outcome will be extremely difficult to achieve. My expectations are that parents continue this support and to be involved in your children's learning. The second thing is good resources and quality teaching. And this is where the staff and myself will help your children and provide to all our students. And the third thing is to apply and memorize what they've been taught. Students have to really apply and memorize what they've learned through classwork, through homework, and they have to learn to do regular revisions. And again, I can't emphasize this enough, but parents play an important role in making sure that all homework is completed prior to coming to class. So parents must be consistent in encouraging students to also not only understand the work, because that's where we come into it, but emphasize the importance of remembering what you've been taught in class. Because it's important to realize that we see the students 2 hours a week, and the rest of the time they're at home. Now, also in high school, we emphasize independence, discipline, and self-motivation. So as a father of 5 children, yes, I've got 5 kids of my own, and it's quite hectic. I know how difficult it is to make the children sit down every day at the same time and without reminder to study. It's extremely difficult. So it will take a lot of effort from parents. But I urge parents that you must do this. You must teach them to self-learn. Do not, they're in high school, do not hold their hands. Do not blame teachers or school. Teach them that if other students can do it, then they can do it too. So at the center, we will devise a clear plan on how to play the HSC. Yes, so we'll teach you how to play this HSC game, because at the end of the day, it is like a game. So to maximize your results and outcomes, there are steps that you can take, which Miss Anna, Mr. Daniel, and Miss Tegan will talk about. So to the class of 2030, which is not a very long time away, it will be a long journey, but you will receive the support from the staff at Ngo and Sons, and I'm confident we will continue to produce wonderful leaders of society. So I'll hand this back to you, Justin, and would like to say thank you for joining our meeting tonight.
Thank you so much for that, Dr. Chung. So what we're going to do now is we're going to begin hearing from all the different faculty heads about their respective courses. The first one is going to be the mathematics course, and that will be covered by Miss Anna Lee.
Yeah, thank you for that, Justin. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes, you're good. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, awesome. Thanks everyone for joining tonight once again. Going off of what Dr. Trung has just spoken about, in particular about the HSC as a game, I'll firstly talk about how to play the HSC. Now, at our centre, we call the HSC a game. That's because we believe there are steps you can take to maximise your children's results starting from now, okay, as Year 6 students. So at the moment, I think the first thing is that most parents have to remind their children to pack up, read, do their homework, and over the next 1 to 2 years, as they enter our high school centre, this needs to stop. So this means that students need to develop self-motivation and independence. It also means children need to know what to do and when they need to do it. And as teachers, we will make sure your children participate in class, at tutoring, and that they do their homework. Now, if they don't do this, we will call you. I also encourage parents to really be actively involved in our high school centre and in their studies, and that is to provide a home environment that enables learning. Parents need to also train their children to follow a schedule, to know when to study and when to play, and not to combine or mix the two together. The second thing is that in Year 7, a lot of students find it difficult to cope. They find it very difficult to go from Year 6 to Year 7 because they have to move rooms in high school between subjects. At the same time, they have to make new friends. And at the same time, they have to do 7 to 8 subjects in one go. Now, our aim is to make sure that your child is strong in mathematics, English, and science so that when they go into high school, they are confident with the work. This means that their focus is on the social aspects. They can learn to make new friends and they can really enjoy high school because in terms of the content, they're already confident with the work. Now, the third thing is I want to make parents aware of scaling. Now, scaling is when your marks get pushed up. Now, this means that certain subjects that you pick in the HSC will scale well. So this includes subjects such as, and I'll talk a bit more about this too, 3-unit and 4 units of mathematics, physics, chemistry, biology, and economics. So for example, on the screen, you can see, I put there so that you can see a graph about HSC scaling. So what all this graph is just saying to you is if you firstly look at 3-unit mathematics, a mark of around 64% gets pushed up to become, thank you for that, Justin, gets pushed up to become around like a 92%. For physics, a mark of around 85% can get pushed up to a mark like 93%. And you can see similarly for chemistry and biology. But I want to contrast or compare that with business studies. Now you can see that a mark of around, similar, maybe 64% may jump up to only be maybe 68%. So you can see that subjects like 3-unit physics, chemistry, biology, 4-unit maths, they are the subjects that scale well. Okay, so what that means is the marks get pushed up substantially more than other subjects like business studies. Okay, now that's why choosing the correct subjects is very important. So this is why I encourage parents to consider maths, English, and science tutoring from younger years. And this is so that they become strong in these subjects and gain the confidence to end up picking physics, chemistry, and biology in senior years. Now, I see so many students who don't do well in junior science and they choose not to pick physics, chemistry, and biology in senior years. And getting into a good uni course now is getting harder and harder. And for your child to be successful, my team and I must get them ready starting from this upcoming May. Okay, so that's when the course for Year 6 commences at our centre. We start preparing them for Year 7. Now, the next thing I'll quickly wanted to show you, I have been getting inquiries from parents also about our mathematics syllabus. So I just wanted to show there, that's our the syllabus that we will be following when the students start at our high school centre this year in May. Okay. Now, at Ngo & Sons, for junior, for Year 6 transitioning over, we are offering tutoring for mathematics, English, and science lessons starting from Year 6. I will be talking about mathematics and our English and science coordinators will also outline their course today after me. Now, in junior, this is how the maths course is structured. The first thing is that students come to class and we provide the booklets with their classwork and homework inside. So that means coming into mathematics class, the students just need to bring their stationery to class. The second thing is during the class, they will work through classwork together with the teacher going through the concepts. At the end of class, teachers will set homework for the students. Within the week, students are expected to complete homework and submit it onto our student portal. If homework isn't done for 2 weeks consecutively, parents will be notified of this. Teachers will also make attempts to speak to the students, see what's going on, and also try to motivate them. The third thing is that, and I think this is something important to highlight about our junior course for mathematics in particular. During the year, there will be blocks of masterclass that last 4 to 6 weeks when they start high school. What masterclass is it's a period where we revise topics that they will have in exams at school. So that means during this period, they will also sit practice exams. So this means when your child goes to school, they will be ready for their school exams. So at the centre, we really have this emphasis on making sure that the students are ready for their exams in high school. We mark those practice exams so that parents can view their child's score on the student portal. And in the near future, we are designing our program, or our IT team are designing a program where parents and students can see their mark and rank compared to their peers. And that means you can also view the improvement that your child is making over the course of masterclass. And this masterclass has been extremely popular at our high school centre. A lot of students I know, even in my classes, they get up to, like a 20%, 22% increase in their exams. And that's, an average across the classes at the centre. The fourth thing is that we try to match our syllabus, or our syllabus matches the New South Wales curriculum. We also collect school exams every year, especially for the top schools in the state, so that we know what's being asked every year and so that we can prepare your child for school. Okay, so that's about the maths course at the centre. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free just to pop it in the chat box and we'll answer it all at the end. I'll talk about the differences between the centres now. I think it's important that parents understand the differences between NSPC, our primary centre, and our high school centre. The first thing for parents to note is that at NSPC, each term follows the school term. However, at the high school centre, we don't follow school terms. During the year, we run consecutively for 5 terms. We have no breaks in between, except during our Christmas holidays, where we have 3 to 4 weeks off. Okay. Otherwise, during school holidays, we just continue running as per normal. The second thing is that we offer individual classes for each subject rather than bundles like NSPC. So what that means is at NSPC, you do a bundle of math and English, whereas at our high school centre, you can pick math, English, and or science to attend. As they move to the high school centre, there will also be an element of fun, obviously, and we'll give medals, prizes, and awards to the students. However, I think as they progress through high school, as we know as adults, if motivation and inspiration comes from just having fun, then you will not succeed. And I think it's important that the students understand they also have to do the not so fun things too. Now, the other thing is that we have this expectation for students to become more independent in high school. So what that means is in primary school, students are monitored and helped every single step of the way. Whereas in high school, there is an expectation of independence. So for example, in primary, you are given homework help classes. We don't offer this in high school. However, we offer full homework solutions, which follow our technique. And this will guide the students when they complete homework. The student portal is there for parents to actively engage and monitor their child's performance. And the portal gives an indication of their homework mark, quiz marks, exam marks. I do want to point out to parents though, and I want to request that parents don't call the centre about losing 1 or 2 marks in homework. This is completely normal and it's not important. Every single week when they do homework and they submit homework, they get a mark out of 10. That mark is an indication of homework progress, and it just needs to be at an adequate level. What's more important is for you to look at their quiz and their exam marks compared to other students, rather than focusing on the homework marks. Okay. And finally, as always, we will still talk to parents and alert parents and carers of any issues that we see. From time to time, I will also monitor your children's performance and give you a call, or either myself or Anita will give you a call. And just remember, not all calls are bad. We just call just to see how you're going, how your child's progressing, and if there's any concerns or anything we could assist you with. And I know this is a lot of information, and I know that what's coming ahead, that there will be a lot of information that may be overwhelming to parents. Please be assured that from now until 2030, when your child graduates, we'll be there to support your child and to provide them with the best education that we can. I know that 6 years is not long, and I know that it goes by very quickly. The journey starts in May, and I look forward to working with you and your child. If there are any questions, once again, please feel free to pop it into the chat box, which we'll answer afterwards. Thank you. Thanks, Justin.
Okay, thank you so much, Miss Anna. So like Anna said, if you do have any questions, please feel free to continue asking them. Just for the interest of time, we will move on to our next presentation, but rest assured we'll answer all the questions towards the end. So moving on, we have our next speaker for tonight. It's going to be our head of chemistry, Mr. Daniel Nguyen, and he's going to be talking about the science program.
Hello, everyone. Hope you guys are all having a good evening. My name is obviously Daniel Nguyen, and one thing about me is I am a NESA qualified teacher with over 5 years of experience teaching here at Nguyen Sons. And I've also taught at public schools all over New South Wales, including schools like Willoughby Girls High School, Cheltenham Girls, and also North Ryde Public School as well. So I do have experience teaching science at a tuition and also science at a real New South Wales school. I graduated with a Bachelor of Science and a Bachelor of Education Secondary, and I majored in chemistry and biomolecular sciences. Over the past few years, what we have been doing here at Nguyen Sons is we've been designing and working on our new junior science course, which we are so excited to share with you guys today. With science, what I want to talk to you guys about is why you have to consider science. Why is science such an important lesson for your child to consider for tutoring? The reason why science is an important lesson is because science as a subject uses many different skills that can be applied throughout all subjects in the HSC. In science, your child will be required to do calculations. They'll be required to read, draw diagrams, short answer responses, and also long extended responses, which are very, very important in other subjects as well. In science, we will teach your child about these skills. And even if your child doesn't do science later on, these skills will carry on to other subjects, including mathematics, economics, legal studies as well. One major thing that I do want to talk about with science is the fact that if your child does well in junior science, they'll be more likely to choose the higher scaling subjects like physics, chemistry, and biology, right? Now, what I want to show you guys on the next slide is a comparison between two children. We have person A who got an ATAR of 97.1 and person B who got an ATAR of 99.3. The reason why I'm showing you guys these two results is just to focus on the chemistry section for both of their HSC marks. We can see here that science makes a massive difference for your ATAR, which is, as we know, super important to get into those higher level university courses. For our science course, we have built it from the ground up, and our team includes a lot of highly qualified and trained teachers, such as myself with a NESA qualification and also state rankers as well. On our team, we have the first in chemistry for New South Wales, Sir Ryan Lee. And what we do in our science course is we break down each topic into the main topics which aligns with the NESA syllabus. Our science course will go far and beyond the NESA syllabus, and we plan to build good fundamentals which will carry on into your senior years. Our course is designed so your child can smoothly transition over to those senior sciences, such as chemistry, biology, and physics, as we know, which are all super high scaling subjects. As for the learning experience and what your child should expect to experience with science here at Nguyen Sons, every single week, your child will be given homework designed to build upon the skills of memorization, which is so important in the HSC. We also have regular quizzes which were made for every single subtopic, and also our lectures are provided by our highly trained team, including myself as well. Right. After every single topic, we will be going through an exam and revision lessons before every single exam. Thank you, Justin.
All right, excellent. Thank you, Daniel. Just for the interest of time, Daniel does have a class to teach very soon. So we're going to do the science questions first. And then at the end of this whole presentation, we'll do the mathematics and English questions. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to unmute at this point and ask your question. Otherwise, you can also just chuck it in the chat. While the parents get their questions together, we do have one from Katie, Daniel. So the question is, do you need science to do courses like medicine, I guess, in university?
Yeah, so science is super important in every single health course, right? Specifically medicine. Obviously, your ATAR is the most important to get into those higher courses. But if you get a 99.95 ATAR and you didn't do chemistry or physics, what you're going to have to do before you start medicine is what they call a bridging course. This is going to take another 1 to 2 years before you actually get into medicine. So it's very important to consider doing the senior sciences if you want to get into those health courses.
Thanks, Daniel. We also had Katie also asked another question on what do you cover in year 6 in the science program?
Yeah, so in year 6 science, what we mainly go to cover is how to develop good skills and how to study for science. One of the major things that we have, which no other center has, is a scientific skills course. And this teaches your child how to approach science questions. In science, one of the major things we look at is a scientific report. And we're going to walk you through what is a scientific report, how do you do a scientific report, and we're going to show you all the ins and outs of science. And we're also going to start on some year 7 content as well.
Thank you so much, Daniel. Grace also asked a question. She said, you mentioned you'll be going through how to do well in science. How does my child approach science? What does he have to do well?
Yeah, so with science, it's a really unique subject where just understanding the content is not enough, right? For science to succeed, you need 3 major things. Number 1, you need to be able to make your notes, and your notes need to be super detailed. They need to be super labeled with a lot of practice questions in them. Number 2, you need to be able to apply your understanding. Like I said, understanding the content isn't good enough. You need to know how to write it down into your responses. And finally, number 3, I know we don't want to hear it, but memorization is very important for science. It's a very big topic, and year 11 and 12 physics, chemistry, and biology are very content heavy. We'll teach you guys how to memorize and tips and tricks to help you guys memorize better through our science course, right?
Excellent. We also have a question from Mary, Daniel. It is, in high school, all schools do different topics. How does tutoring help if every school does different things?
Yeah, so we did take that into account when we developed our science course. And because you guys are the class of 2030, you guys will be getting extra support from this science course. No matter if your topic isn't being covered in class, you will be given support outside of class through extra notes and also past papers and exams from those schools. We'll also be giving crash courses on any topic that you guys need. So even though you might not be covering the topic right now, eventually it will come up, but we will be supporting you during that time.
Excellent. Grace also asks, when do you choose the type of science you do for HSC?
Yeah, so generally for the HSC, you will choose your sciences at the end of year 10. You have 1 of 3 or 4 sciences to choose from. You have chemistry, biology, physics, and also science extension. Here at Ngo & Sons, if you decide to do any of those sciences and we see that you are excelling, you may be able to proceed into these courses just that little bit earlier so you get an edge on your peers in these subjects.
Thank you. Anthony, I see your question. I'll get back to you after we finish this Grace's second question, just because it moves and carries on from what Daniel just said. So Grace just said, will all kids be able to choose these subjects or only the top kids?
Yeah. So for our sciences, all students are able to choose physics, chemistry, and biology. But obviously for the top kids, we do want you guys to excel. So what we're going to do is we do offer specialist streams if we notice that your child is a top student. And in these specialist streams, what we're going to do is we're going to go beyond the syllabus and give just a little bit harder questions for the top students as well. But all kids are able to enter our science course.
Excellent. And Anthony Van said that will there be projects or is it only booklets and learning?
So for projects, I'm assuming that you're talking about our labs and our assessment tasks. How we approach our assessment tasks at Nyo & Sons is we walk you guys through every single assessment task that you're going to do in your course. Yeah. No matter what subject it is, we will have notes on that assessment task. So we won't be doing the projects in class, but you will be learning and watching videos on the project. So you'll be super prepared when you do them in school.
Thanks, Daniel. Sayed, we'll come back to your question at the end, just because it doesn't relate specifically to science, and Miss Anna can give more insights on that. Mary asked another question, and she said, will kids be able to do chemistry or biology early at Nyo & Sons? And are kids able to jump grades if they are strong in that subject?
Yeah, so like I said before, we do offer that for the students, and this is in our specialist courses. Your child is able to do chemistry and biology earlier on at Nyo & Sons, just so they get that edge over their peers. So if your child performs really well, we will consider them for the specialist stream.
Excellent. Thank you, Daniel. Do we have any further questions for Daniel before we let him go back and start teaching his new class?
Oh, I've just got someone who's just personally messaged me a question. They said, can you explain the difference about person A and person B? How come the marks are so different? So I think they're referring to the slide earlier that that Daniel was talking about. I think it was this one. Yeah, I just got someone who just personally messaged me that question. Yeah.
Oh, yes. So for these two people, person A and person B, we see that their maths marks, their English marks, and their music marks are very similar, but their ATARs are really different. One got a 97 and one got a 99, and that's because of the importance of science. We see here the student who did get the lower ATAR, they got an 80 in science, and the student who got the higher ATAR got a 95 in chemistry. Right. This just shows that chemistry is super important if you're aiming for those higher ATARs, and it's really important to consider physics, chemistry, and biology for your HSC subjects.
Thanks for that, Daniel. Miss Van Lee asked a question as well. She said that science is too generic to physics, chemistry, and biology. So how does this help later on in those subjects?
Yeah. So science is a combination of all three sciences, physics, chemistry, and biology. But our course is designed to teach your kids not just the content, but the skills that they need to excel in chemistry, in physics, and in biology. Right. We'll be teaching your kids how to memorize certain things. We'll be going through every single subtopic required, and we'll also be going through the prerequisites for physics, chemistry, and biology. Through our course, we also do give your students a glimpse of Year 11 physics, Year 11 chemistry, and Year 11 biology through some of our lectures as well.
Could I just contribute to that question? Because I think it's a really good question about science. My personal experience to science was that I didn't feel science was important in year 7, year 8 for my first son. He's in university at the moment. But now my other sons are doing science because science is not just about teaching science. It's about teaching how to learn science. And I think that a lot of students, when they go and study science, they don't do well and they don't know why they don't do well. And the most important thing is that they think that science is all about understanding. It's actually not. we can understand science, we can understand how the earth rotates. But the way science is, it's a very accurate science. Science is very accurate. It requires kids to know minute details. So when you go into an exam, you not only need to understand, but you need to know the minute details because the question will target a very small point in the textbook. And so, and so that's why if we train the kids to learn science from a very young age, they understand that with science, you have to memorize, you have to make really precise notes, really precise. And you also gotta, and I think Mr. Daniel will talk about dot points in the syllabus as well. I think, sir, if you can talk about a little bit about dot point and how to summarize based on these dot points and what actually memorizing actually means.
Yeah. So like Sir said, dot points are super important in science, and specifically with how to memorize everything in the dot points and what it means to memorize content, right? When students memorize, how they do it is really poor. And I see this across a lot of students. And you see this a lot in public schools where when students memorize, they just read the same thing over and over and over again, but they're never really digesting it and they're never really applying it. I could say the same thing 1,000 times, but if I don't know how to use it, then I'm never going to do well in an exam. And that's what we show you guys in our course. We show you guys that, yes, it's important to make sure you know the content, but to memorize the content, you need to be able to draw upon it when a question asks you. Yeah. No matter what the question is, no matter how far down the line, you need to be able to draw upon the stuff that you have learned and actually apply it into your answers.
Okay, excellent. I think if there's no more questions, we'll let Mr. Nguyen go. But thank you so much for your time, Daniel. I think that really helped everyone and clarify questions about science. And hopefully they'll see you around next year when they move over.
Thank you, Justin. Have a good night,
right.
everyone.
Have a good night, Daniel. So with that, we'll move on to our next presenter. So we're going to be talking about the English course, and we're going to be hearing from Miss Tegan Yuan, who is the English coordinator.
Good evening, everyone. Can I just check that you can hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. I'll be speaking on behalf of English for today. So our lessons are 1 hour 45, and just on the next slide, we have a breakdown of how our lessons work. We have a very large emphasis on homework at English and also vocabulary. We want to help students develop expression more than anything else. We find that a lot of students can have those really core English skills that they can develop naturally or develop at school. But one thing that a tutor really helps them with is develop that natural sophistication and up-level the standard of their writing. And that is where vocabulary and expression exercises come in. We'll spend some time on theory. Typically, every single class will have a section on personalized writing and immediate feedback. This, again, contributes to that emphasis on expression that we have here at English, but also this is just the best way to engage with the students directly and make sure that they are progressing how we would like them to go. Our Year 6 program, the first 3 terms, beginner's poetry, visual learning, and rhetorical devices. So very different units. This is designed so that when they do enter high school and when they do enter whichever school they're going to, at some stage, we will cover the units or the skills that they will be learning. I can go into a quick introduction of these units. So beginner's poetry goes into form analysis, and they begin how to write an essay and answer school assessment questions. Visual learning introduces visual techniques and further strengthens analytical writing. And rhetorical devices looks at the elevated persuasive argument. Ultimately, you can see that our course is designed for high school level expression and writing style. At English, we also offer a lot of support for your child. We understand that at school, your child may be doing different texts, different assessments. That is why we have marking emails marking hubs that are regularly monitored by our tutors. So a student will email in, hi Ngo and Sons English, this is my assessment notification, this is my draft, can I please get some feedback? And we will work with them to ensure that they can get the best possible mark in that school assessment. Our students also have access to the lesson recordings, but as well as text resources. We have resources from a very large abundance of text across the NSPC syllabus from year 7 all the way until year 12. In fact, we actually have year 12 advanced text resource packages that include sample essays, sample paragraphs, sample analysis as well. So we have a lot of resources that we would love to share with your child and help them through whatever unit that they're doing at school. On that note, we also offer sample responses, and our syllabus is being constantly updated. So earlier I mentioned that students will submit their school assessments. That is a two-way street. So on our end, we help them out by improving their one singular writing, but we don't want to let that go to waste. So we take those questions and we look at what schools are doing, how they're being creative with the unit and syllabus, and we constantly adapt our syllabus to remain competitive with these new types of questions and these new types of texts. So as your child stays with us over time, our program only gets more and more catered towards them and more advanced over time. Ultimately, because we have such an emphasis in year 6 on expression and on theory, this means that when your child enters high school, they are unfazed by that difference in standard and sophistication. Not only can our English students succeed in school assessments, but they are instilled with a very important confidence. We've spoken a lot about confidence and scaling in particular tonight. Scaling also very much exists in English. There's English Standard and English Advanced scaling. Our senior program tends to cater a lot more to English Advanced students. As seen in Daniel's slide, English Advanced is just that much better in terms of scaling. But ultimately, English is mandatory in the HSC. So we can talk as much as we want about English scaling. That doesn't change the fact that your child has to do some kind of English. And English as a subject is very important because it is skills-based. It builds upon the years. On top of that, the writing and reading skills also link to so many other subjects. Miss Anna mentioned earlier, economics is a very high scaling subject. Well, economics is a lot of reading and a lot of writing. You will want to develop those reading and writing skills for all of the social sciences, such as legal studies, such as economics. And our English course is something that keeps that in mind, keeps broader skills in mind to excel in HSC entirely. Some frequently asked questions that we have from parents is, how does tutoring work given that schools are doing different texts? I covered this a bit in my talk, but ultimately we focus on skills, and skills are transferable. English is not something that you can just memorize an essay, walk into your exam, spit out your memorized essay and get a good mark. It is something where you need to have those skills. The second question is probably quite relevant. How does homework work? So our homework system is different from maths system. We don't do the online submissions. That is because, well, currently the HSC and NAPLAN and all kinds of school assessments are in class, timed, and handwritten. Handwriting is a very big thing that we want to focus on in high school. It is very, very unfortunate, and this has happened many times right in front of my eyes, to have a very strong student that has written a very good piece, but your marker just cannot read what you've written. So as long as your HSC and your NAPLANs and your school assessments are on paper, Ngo and Sons will also be on paper. On top of that, in the recent years, schools have been implementing anti-AI, anti-plagiarism software. So not yet in primary school, but very likely high school, your students will be introduced to softwares like Turnitin, which tracks AI and tracks plagiarism. We don't want them to develop bad habits of relying on the internet too much. Students sometimes just rely on the internet a little bit too much. Not necessarily cheating, just a little over reliance. So we find that handwritten eliminates that risk entirely and gets rid of that bad habit before it can really take root. I would just like to also mention that our program is also headed by Miss Lauren. She's just in a class today, so she wasn't able to attend, but she is a NSPC qualified teacher. And yeah, that's enough for me. I can see a couple of questions in the chat, and I'm just noting the time.
Yeah, thank you so
Justin,
much,
is it all right if
Tegan.
we move to some questions?
Yes. There's also a slide here on results and testimonials, but we'll leave that up as we answer questions so parents can read that. I just also wanted to add, so prior to working at NSPC, I actually started at high school English. And I wanted to just outline the two main differences between primary school English and high school English. Now, in primary school English, our final goal is the selective exam. So a lot of what we teach our students in primary school English is to rote learn, to memorize techniques, to find the fastest approach. Now, unfortunately, in high school, when you do that, you're unable to pass the HSC that way. So what's really important for students, especially at a young age, is to start developing long-term skills. And a lot of people will say that you can go into the HSC, you can memorize your essay and then just write it out. But the HSC question changes every single year. They always so twist and turn. So what's very important for students to learn, especially in the junior years, is the ability to deconstruct, the ability to analyze, and the ability to dissect. And those are all skills that are covered in junior English. Now, there were some questions about if the text doesn't apply, or different schools learn about different texts, which is also a very valid question. However, what's important to learn in junior English is the skills to break down any text. If you learn that text and you break down that text in a tutoring environment, sure, you might get very well for that particular text, but you're not learning the long-term skills to do it for all text. And that's what you want to apply when you get into HSC English. So just thought I'd add that in. Now, what we'll do is, before we go through all the final questions, just to keep everything together, we might go through your questions first, Tegan, for the English questions, and then we'll go to the final questions. So if anyone has any English questions, please feel free to pop in the chat. We have a couple already that we'll start with. So I'll start with the first one, which is by Grace. So she said, English is a very subjective course. What does my child need to do to ensure the marker likes their work and gives them a decent mark?
Thank you for your question, Grace. At first glance, English is very subjective, but having worked in this field for a bit, we learned that English actually has a very strict marking guideline. I've spoken to HSC markers, I've spoken to HSC paper, the writers of the papers. They have very strict guidelines across the board. In high school, they may start to introduce that kind of guideline to you, but what we do at the center, the reason why we ask students to submit the assessment notification when they submit their draft is actually because the marking guideline is attached to it. All of our tutors are highly capable in analyzing that marking guideline, extracting what is necessary. If it's a matter of the marker liking the child and the work, they have to follow the marking guidelines quite strictly. And what markers typically do is actually gather in a group, decide this paper is a 100% paper, this paper is a 95% paper, this paper is a 90% paper, and so on and so forth. And we have figured out how they work like that and how they use the marking guidelines to create that. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah,
I think
thanks for that.
Miss Tegan is very modest, just to let parents know that before Tegan came into helping us prepare for English, we were trying to formulate what you could say a formula to get our weak kids to get high marks and our strong kids to get extremely high marks, like state ranking. And it wasn't until Tegan came in and she was able to create this syllabus and create a parents will see it, students will see it, especially in year 11, year 12, that she's made a formula so that if students follow this, they will achieve a good result. And we were talking about this, Tegan, 2 years ago, didn't we? About
Yes.
that English is not subjective as what people think. There is a method to the madness of English. I did not know about it. I didn't do well in English, but thank you for allowing us your methods. Also, Tegan achieved an extremely high mark at Walkham Hills High School. She was one of the state leading debaters and English person in the state. So it's extremely good that we were able to draw on her skills and develop this rather new English method and technique since she's been here. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm very flattered. Thank you very much.
We also had a question, Tegan. Will
Yep.
you be teaching the English?
I will not. Actually, this is a perfect opportunity. Miss Jeslyn Lee, she's just in the meeting right now. Do you mind just saying hi, Jeslyn?
Hi, everyone.
So
Yes.
she taught our very successful Year 6 class last year, and she has come on to continue teaching the Year 6 class this coming May as well. I teach currently a Year 11 English Advanced class and a Year 8 English class. So I won't be teaching the incoming Year 6s, but Ms. Jeslyn did an absolutely fantastic job with last year's the 2023 Year 6s. So all of our teachers are also very capable.
Excellent. Thank you for that, Tegan. I'll just give another moment for any more English questions to pop up. But if there aren't any, then we can move on to the final questions and Miss Anna will answer the questions. Okay. If there's no one else, I'll go back to the start and we'll start going through the questions that were already answered. During this time, again, if you do have any questions, please feel free to put it into the chat and then we'll see, and then Miss Anna will answer. So let's start from the beginning. Let me just see where we are up to with the questions. Okay, so the first one here is from Sayed, and he asked, do we have to do all 3 subjects when enrolling to high school?
No, you don't have to do all 3 subjects. It is up to you. So because we don't offer a bundle, it's not math, English and science. It is only either you pick math, you just out of the 3 subjects, pick what you like. Okay, I think so far I've rang, Anita's rang quite a few parents. I've rang a couple myself too. We've been talking with each other about if you're trying to kind of gauge what the majority are picking, the majority at the moment is math, English and science, which is good to see. Yeah.
Thanks for that, Anna. We also had some other questions. Let me just put you as the spotlight. Okay, I do understand that we're getting close to that 8 o'clock, so we'll try and wrap this up as fast as we can. Grace asked, for the courses for high school, do I need to buy any textbooks for my child?
No, you don't need to buy any textbooks. As part of our as part of the fees that you pay, we provide your booklets and everything that you need for class. So no need to buy any textbooks.
Excellent. We also have another question, if there are back-to-back classes or not, just because this person lives in Hunter Hills and it's a bit far to come.
Yeah, of course. So we do offer back-to-back classes. So as part of when, if your child does currently attend NSPC, they would have received the information pack with all the class times. We definitely do have options for back-to-back for math and English as well as math and science, which you can have a look at too. So if you're not sure about that, you feel free to email me and then I will send you all the times.
Thank you, Anna.
Yeah.
We also have a question about knowing the building and having a daughter. Can I ask how toilet breaks work? Are they going in pairs? And as I know, there is a toilet on the same level. However, it
Yeah.
can be isolated specifically if all the rooms or office door is closed.
Yes, yes, awesome. Thank you for your question, Quinn. I believe you're referring to our Cabramatta campus, which has the bathroom located outside our centre. Yes, the students in Year 6 will be asked to go in pairs. So where they need to go to the bathroom, they'll just bring along someone to go with them, just so that they can go together and come back together.
Thanks for that, Anna. Wendy
Yeah.
asked, is science available at Parramatta campus?
At the moment, we don't have a science class at Parramatta just yet, but once I get all the numbers, if we have enough interest for a Parramatta class, I am looking to open that, given that we have enough students. And we will let parents know. If we choose to open that class and we have the students, we will let all parents know of the time.
Excellent. Mary asked, she said her elder son is currently in Balcombe Hills in the focus class at Ngo and Sons. She was asking if there will be focus class for this student group.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for your question. We definitely have focus classes at the centre that we start to create as the students start high school. At the moment, we don't have any focus classes for them right now because obviously we don't know what high school they're going to. But as they start high school, we do speak to the students, and when we have about 10 students, then I speak to the students about opening a focus class. So let's say your child's in Balcombe Hills and will be going to Balcombe Hills in Year 7. Throughout the year, I'll talk to the students, and when there's a sufficient amount of students, we will open a class. Just so that recently we just opened our Year 8 Balcombe Hills class too. So maybe I think your child might be in that class. Yeah.
Yep. There's another question about, will they have breaks during the classes?
Yes, during the maths class and during the English class, the teacher will allow them to have about a 5-minute break during the class, but in between mathematics and English or science class, there'll also be a 15 to 30-minute break.
Excellent. I believe that there are no other questions. If anyone wants to pop up, unmute, or type in the chat, please feel free to. While we do that, Anna, I think you had a couple more things you wanted to say about the English, maths, and science programs. So I'll give you the space to do that now.
Yes, thank you for that, Justin. I did want to let parents know, as we mentioned earlier in the meeting, that all parents have been contacted at this point in regards to their class times and class schedules for this upcoming May. There have been some parents that both Anita and myself haven't been able to contact. And if that's the case, we would have sent you an email about the class allocation. Just so that all parents know, the orientation day that's coming up on the 20th and 21st of April, that will be, on the Saturday it's at Fairfield, and on the Sunday it's at Cabramatta. That is allocated based on the lessons that you are attending at our high school centre. So for example, if the majority of your classes are Fairfield classes, you attend the Saturday Fairfield one. And then if it's Sunday, then you attend if it's Cabramatta, then you attend the Sunday, 21st of April. I'm really excited to meet all our Year 6s on that day. I do believe Sir will be there. The head of admin, Miss Quinn, will also be there. I will be there. So I'm really excited to meet all the students on orientation day. And so I really do hope all parents can attend that. It really is a day just about familiarising themselves with the centre. We want the students to be able to, on their first day of high school, know what room they're in, know their login, know how to submit homework, meet their teachers, know, for example, where the bathrooms are, things like that. So we're really excited to offer that orientation day for our students for that reason. I will also be popping up class lists this weekend on Sunday at NSPC. And a quick reminder to all parents, I will be at NSPC this upcoming Sunday. If you have any questions, please feel free to come up on that day. I'll just be sitting at the admin desk on that day. All right. I think there was another
We
question.
have a few more questions, Anna.
Yep.
So the first one is, how are focus class formed? And then the second one is, with orientation, what happens if we can't make it? Sorry.
Yep. So just going with the orientation question first, if you can't make it, that's okay. We will send you an email, and we'll also provide instructions in that email of everything that your child needs to know in terms of, any logins they would have received, and other administrative stuff, as in what rooms they'll be in, who their teacher will be. So we will email that to parents if you can't make it. But if you can make it, I really do encourage parents to come, or students to come to that day. In regards to how the focus classes are formed, they are formed, well, there's two ways that they are formed. The first way is that when I see that we have about 10 students from a particular school and they have to be from the same school, I will speak to them about, organising a day where we can offer that focus class. So just to be clear, a focus class is a class with only one school in there so that we can focus on the syllabus of that particular school. So for example, a Borkham Hills focus class means that all the students are from Borkham Hills. You can actually see my students on the slide. They're my Borkham Hills students. And it means that all the Borkham Hills, or every student in that class is from Borkham Hills. The second way they're formed is sometimes students come up to me requesting classes to be opened, and that's okay too. So in that scenario, they might have about 5 students at the moment at the centre from their school, and they say to me, Miss, I'm going to drag in, about 5 other of my friends. They're interested in joining, and then we open a class from there also. Okay. Again, with focus classes, I also want to let parents know there's no promises. We, once a student speaks to me, we can see, we see if it's possible to do. If it's possible, then we do it. Okay. But we make no promises about that.
Thanks for that, Anna. Were there any other questions from the chat? We'll just give it a moment. So you'd ask, is it at Parramatta?
Are you referring, I think he's referring to the orientation day. Is that what you're referring to, Sayed? If you are referring to the orientation day at the, oh, okay. Oh, the 21st of April. The 21st of April is at Cabramatta, the orientation day. Yep, that's all right.
Okay. If there's no other questions, we might wrap it up there.
Yeah.
I wanted to say thank you so much to all the parents for coming tonight. Like I said, we know everyone's busy, so just getting this hour with you to just talk about the rollover in our classes, we really do appreciate that. If you do have any further questions, you can see Miss Anna's contact details here. So you have missanna@ngonsons.com.au. Please feel free to just send any emails if you have any questions, and she'll clarify. And you also have a phone number here that you can contact as well. So we might end it there. Oh, I see one more question. We'll do this as the last question, and then any other questions we'll send to the email. So which centers have maths, English, and science?
Yep. So at the moment, with the class times that have been released, that's all right. With the class times that have been released, maths, English, and science is offered at Fairfield at the moment. Based on numbers, we are planning on opening also a science class at Parramatta. As you know, we already have maths and English at Parramatta, but based on, numbers, if we have enough students, we will also open a junior Year 6 science class at Parramatta too. But to answer your question, at the moment, maths, English, and science is at Fairfield.
All right. Thank you, Anna, so much. So what we'll do is we'll wrap it up there. Just a reminder that for attending this seminar, you will get the 20% off the first term. And Miss Anna will deal with the invoices and let you know about that later on. And also just a reminder, if you do have any doubts about science, it is free for the first term. So enroll into that, see if your child likes it or see if you like it, and then you can make a decision following that, what you want to do. But other than that, I just want to say thank you so much, everyone, for your time tonight, and have a good night, and we'll see you guys very soon.